Well, it is Healthcare Simulation Week this week, and I just wanted to say personally hello. Um, a little walk along locally and made me think a bit about where are we at, what's happening. And I thought back nearly 20 years to setting up the simulation centre. And here we are in the skills lab. So, what's it all about? How can we get this training out there? Um, my favourite picture was this picture, and my second favourite picture is right next to it, and this keeps me motivated because the patient's in the middle. How do we get training to the patient? There's plenty of history. We know from what happened yesterday that things are getting better, but we've still got a long way to go. Here's Andrew Jackson. He's done a phenomenal amount of work trying to make things better. It reminded me of trying to do needle stick training for medical staff. There were big problems. This is nearly 20 years ago. Didn't have the safety devices, trying to get them in, trying to get training out to them at 10 minutes. So the most powerful thing I did was just gave them information on their colleagues, and it worked. Also did some work with the management team and leaders trying to get some funding in to get these sharps in, and this is the interesting point. So we got some funding in. It was nearly double the money. Well done to the management for trying to find that budget. And we had to use it really carefully because it was helping with needle stick injuries that were actually happening. But what we found were we got these things in, and then we found that the clinicians were stuffing the pockets with the old stuff. And after a little bit of surprise, what could we do? And that's really one of the main drivers for this Flatpack innovation that I've come up with, because we had the devices in, they were brilliant, they did really good stuff, but they just needed to have some time to hold the equipment. They didn't need to go downstairs to that skills lab that you saw four floors down. They didn't have time for that. They only need to know a few things about this equipment, which is really good for the product manufacturers as well, because then they can get their product to survive. But then once we got people using the individual simulator, they've been using it for 12 years. We just made them, and then we invented this one that we could distribute out. What do we put on it? How do we get that out further? Hence came the Flatpack innovation that ended up in Qatar, which is wonderful. Video. How do we get decent video then? So we've been working on the footage for a while, and we're getting really good feedback now. A bit creative. Pulled in some resources from performance analysts for elite footballers. So watching these elite level performers getting balls in a net and using video feedback for that. We have used that very well and very effectively. And the clinicians like it. They can see how the equipment works, and we can show them that in big screens. They can play on their vein, they can practice, they can copy, they can really understand how to handle the devices, and that's what it's about, getting used to that equipment, so when they get to the arm, the simulation arm even, they've really understood how they work, how their colleagues work, how they can hold things. So it's not about basic things at that stage. And when we get to a patient, they're really thinking about, has that patient got hair on his arm? Where can I see this? And they've already practiced things like, who hasn't as a clinician got this stuck to them? So we make these things look easy for non-clinicians out there. It's pretty tricky to get a really small device into a small space and then stick really sticky stuff on it when you've got gloves on. We do loads of things with the learners. We want them to really understand what's going on, and they like it. They really like it. We've had some organisations that like it, and they're coming on board, and it's really exciting, the responses I'm getting. It's really encouraging. We want to continue, want to flat pack more veins out there, get them packed up with loads of good stuff. We call it loading it up, and it could be loaded up bespoke wise, it could be loaded up with fantastic innovations here, and it could be loaded up with video is our main thing. How can we load it up with experts around the world, supported and sponsored by manufacturers? How can we get product out there that works, that people are happy with? And how can we get that research? 17 years to get research into patients, it's not acceptable. So if we can get clinicians practicing and really understanding things, and people on these veins, so that we can share and collaborate, and it is really exciting. People are really keen to get involved, and we're keen too. So yeah, World Simulation Day. a Flatpack simulator, the simplest, possibly the ultra lowest form of simulation that I dare grace the simulation world with. And I just hope we flood it everywhere and we can get this to clinicians' hands so they're not stuffing their pockets with things that can cause them harm. Give me a call at VeinTrain.co.uk. Thanks. Bye.